Welcome back, everyone. Today's review, we're looking at this sea turtle from Ocean Discs. Now, if you haven't heard of Ocean Discs, Ollie is doing amazing things for our environment as the sea turtle is created using waste plastic from our oceans. Thank you, Ollie, and everyone over at Ocean Discs, not only for what you're doing for disc golf, but also for our environment. Now, the sea turtle is a mid-range, and so it has a very blunt nose and a pretty uniquely shaped high shoulder. However, the flight plate is pretty flat, so it actually gives the sea turtle a very shallow feel. And that unique nose, well, I thought I wasn't going to like it. However, it actually kind of fills my hand. It rests in my hand very nicely, so I got used to the rim fairly quickly, and to be honest, it was pretty comfortable. So hearing that the sea turtle is made out of that ocean waste plastic, I was interested in how it's going to react. Well, the flight plate is pretty thin, so it felt like I could almost poke my finger through it, as you're kind of seeing there. But there is so much meat in that rim, you cannot get this thing to bend. Alright, so let's go ahead and move on and take a look at the flight of the sea turtle. Now, when thrown on a hyzer, this thing is pretty torque resistant, so when you do get on that hyzer angle, it is going to hold it the entire way. You're not going to get almost any flip up whatsoever. It's just going to hold that arcing hyzer, and then when you do throw it flat, you don't have to worry about any kind of meandering or gradual turn. This thing is just going to hold very straight and then just have a solid finish as it slows down. Even on a slight anhyzer, it fights out of it right away to flat, holds straight, and then just again, once it gets to that final about quarter of the flight, it has a really strong finish. I was not anticipating how torque resistant and just how much finish this has. Even when it's thrown on a high anhyzer line, it holds for about 2/3 of the flight before it levels itself out and then has that nice predictable hyzer finish. And also, I will say I was surprised just how decent for forehanding the sea turtle is. Again, it holds torque extremely well, so even if you do like to forehand mid-ranges, this may be a good option for you, as it is going to go very, very straight because it can hold that torque, because it has that late finish, and also with the profile, it's so flat and slender, it makes a great feeling forehanding disc, which is one of my favorite aspects of the sea turtle. Now, with its great resistance to torque, the sea turtle is going to be good for players with faster arms because it is going to be something you can rip into, don't have to worry about turning over. In fact, it may be great for players with bigger arms who are looking for that tunnel shot mid-range, something they can really rip into, and it's going to kind of hold a really straight line down a tunnel before having that predictable hyzer finish. Now, the only real negative I can find with the flight of the sea turtle, and I don't know because it's so slender and flat, but it really just didn't have as much glide as I thought it was going to have. So it just kind of liked to fall out of the sky, which means it wasn't getting nearly as much distance as most of my other mid-ranges. Okay, let's see what the sea turtle can do on actual disc golf holes. This hole, as you can see, there is a lot of trees with a Mando on the right-hand side forcing you to go down this narrow tunnel. And, I mean, as I say, it is perfect for these tunnel shots. Just throw it with a little slight hyzer, and it is just going to hold the entire way. You don't have to worry about it flipping up and crashing into the late trees. This hole, you have almost no room on the right or left-hand side. You have to go down again, this middle gap. It confines you to do it. But with the sea turtle, just throw it on the slightest of baby anhyzers. It'll quickly level itself out before having a nice forward penetrating slide. The theme of this disc that I definitely want to get across is hitting these gaps. This is yet another one. A lot of trees left and right. You have the one gap, narrow gap right down the middle. This is somewhat like the last hole, just a little bit downhill. Start it on the slightest of anhyzer lines, let it kind of level itself out, and then once again, have that nice forward penetrating finish towards the basket. Another tight wooded hole with a gap. This time it's more set up for a lefty forehand to get it through this gap. But what I like is because it has good torque resistance and good late stability, just flick it out there and know that it's not going to ride straight too far, and it's going to have, again, just a nice, really predictable fade. When it comes to plastic types, the sea turtle does come in 3 different types here. We've got the Ocean Waste Marine, which is this kind of baseline plastic, the Ocean Waste Pacific, which is a more premium plastic, and then also the Swirly Atlantic, which I think is kind of more like your Champion or Sea Line level plastic. Please correct me though if I'm wrong. It's also worth noting that the flight numbers of the 5501 that was shown earlier in the video, that is based on the Ocean Waste Pacific, which again is the premium style plastic. Now, for the Lefty Lines, which you're seeing here, I wanted to pit the Sea Turtle against other very popular mid-ranges out on the market today, such as the ever so famous Discraft Buzz, the ThoughtSpace Pathfinder, and the Discmania MD3. Comparing the Sea Turtle to the Buzz, both have similar amounts of high-speed resistance to torque. They both hold a straight line very well, but it's at the end of the flight where I think the Buzz, it maybe just checks up and starts to hyzer out just a little bit earlier in the flight, making the Buzz seem just a little bit more overstable, but again, that is going to depend on which run of Buzz that you are throwing. While the Buzz might be slightly on the more overstable side, the Pathfinder is just slightly more on the understable side. It doesn't have as good of high-speed resistance to torque like the Sea Turtle, but it still has a decent finish at the very end of its flight when it slows down, but depending on your arm, it's either going to be a very good finish for slower arms to a very mild finish for the faster arms. And then you have the MD3, which I would almost say is like a Sea Turtle OS. It is considerably more overstable. It has a lot better high-speed resistance to torque, even though the Sea Turtle has good, MD3 has more, and the MD3 has a much harsher fade to it. Overall, I have to say I was very surprised in this Sea Turtle. It's made from plastic waste from our oceans, which is helping the environment, but not only that, it makes a great thrower. If you're looking for something that's going to hit a tunnel and you don't want to worry about getting too much turn and then just have a nice predictable finish back, the Sea Turtle is going to be for you. Well, everyone, hope you enjoyed the video. As always, please be sure to subscribe, like this video. It really does help with those YouTube algorithms. Thank you again, Ollie, for sending me the Sea Turtle and letting me test it out. I had a blast throwing this disc. Thank you all again for your support. Until the next one, keep banging chains.